David Menzies for Rebel News here in downtown Toronto. Well, folks, is Ontario's provincial flag too colonialist and too non-inclusive? Well, that is certainly the opinion of Mano Majumdar. He is a lecturer at Western University's Ivey Business School, and he has started a petition to get a new flag for the province of Ontario. Yep, cancel culture is still putting its pedal to the metal. Evidently, this is what Mr. Majumdar had to say. We have a lot of words being spoke about reconciliation and inclusion. If we're not even able to take this one minor step towards making a symbolic commitment to actually having a different society, then we have no credibility when we talk about reconciliation and inclusion. Fancy that. And he has launched a petition, and this is what the petition states. The best flags are distinct and inclusive. Ontario's is neither. This petition calls on the Ontario legislature to replace the provincial flag with a more distinct and inclusive flag chosen by democratic means. Well, you know what? I really like the democratic means part of the petition. So we reached out to a graphic designer. He came up with 4 concepts, 4 new potential Ontario flags that might be more inclusive and less colonialization. Our first one was a spirit unicorn behind a multicolored flag. It's cute. Who would find offense in that? Then we have the kids from Kid Power, completely diverse, completely multiracial. Hey, they say kids are the future. Personally, I think it's the hovercraft. Then we have a illustration of cherry cheesecake. This is a reminder to the people of Ontario to always be diligent when the next coronavirus wave strikes. As the Premier says, get in your basement, bake cherry cheesecake safely.
I haven't had one of these in years.
And the third one, well, it kind of looks like the flag of surrender, doesn't it? It is a simple white flag that is completely, well, I guess it is the flag of surrender, or you could look upon it as being a Etch-a-Sketch canvas. You fill in your own illustration, your own phrase. The sky's the limit. How's that for the democratic process? Anyways, let's find out what the people of Toronto, Ontario have to say about these concepts as a replacement to the traditional Ontario flag. So what would you choose, sir?
The correct facetious answer, of course, is the blank one, so I can add whatever I like.
Or do you think that might be confused as the white flag of surrender?
Ooh, you see, that's a good point.
Yes.
Why not have an infinitesimal dot that's black on it so you can say the flag is completely white?
Oh, okay then, but maybe people would prefer a predominantly black flag with a little white dot.
That option should be there as well.
Maybe we could have both. It's like sports teams, they have home and away jerseys that are reverse of each other.
Now that makes sense.
What would you choose,
I
sir?
would pick the white canvas because you got to leave the flag alone, man. It is what it is. It's been here. The flag's been here before we were here, man. Like, you know,
True enough.
you can't reinvent the wheel, right? A wheel's a wheel's a wheel.
This one.
Spirit unicorn. Yeah, you really can't. I can't see that being offensive to anyone. How about yourself?
The unicorn one.
Unicorn too. Okay, 2 for the unicorn. Which one would you vote for? Well, there you have it, folks. From certain Dr. Seuss books to statues of historical figures to sports team nicknames and logos, absolutely nothing escapes the wrath of the cancel culture mob these days. And now apparently flags are triggering to Snowflake Nation. Give me a break. In any event, you had plenty to say about yet another crackpot idea cooked up by a supposed intellectual to improve Canada by, well, trying to eradicate Canada's history. Ryan writes, imagine going to someone else's country and trying to change their flags. See how far you get. Indeed, the flag of the Taliban, I understand, is now flying in certain regions of Afghanistan. I wonder how the peace-loving rank and file of the Taliban would react if I told them that I was offended by their flag and I wanted it altered. Actually, I think we all know how they would react. JM Music writes, totally with that guy who said, F those people. You know, JM, I try to steer clear of profanity, but you are correct. There are certain instances in which you just have to drop an F-bomb or two. One angry Canadian writes, I'd like to start canceling all the cancel culture people. Now, that's my kind of cancel culture. And that's not about canceling at all, is it? But rather, it's about restoring the culture to an environment where we could agree to disagree and we didn't have to worry about the hurt feelings of gender studies graduates. The good old days. John L. writes, another politically correct egghead trying to erase our traditions and history. He works for a government-funded school. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you. If he doesn't like being under our flag, he is free to leave. And get this, John, this nutty professor is now playing the victim card because of all the negative feedback he's been receiving. Aw, poor baby. And Richard K. writes, speaking as someone from England, I find the flag absolutely great. And speaking as someone who was born and lives in Ontario, I totally agree with you, Richard K. But gee, Richard, does our love of the Ontario flag make us bigots? Folks, the world is insane. The only question is this: have we reached peak insanity yet? Well, that wraps up another edition of Rebel Roundup. Thanks so much for joining us. See you next week. And hey, folks, never forget, without risk, there can be no glory. Good night. Hey folks, that was an excerpt from my show, Rebel Roundup. Now, to get the full meal deal, why not go to Rebel News Plus, sign up, and never miss a Rebel News Plus show in the future.